Hello to everyone. I'm honored to greet you from Al-Farabi TV studio. Today we'll talk about leadership and career management. Young people today, and many students, hear that they have to learn about leadership skills for success. In fact, many professional gurus and lecturers talk about three aspects of career development. Number one is success in landing a job. Number two is success in professional life. And number three is success in uh, dealing with ever-changing labor market. Young people need to learn a lot. Today, I am honored to greet and welcome Professor Herve OBERREINER, professor from Total Professional Association. He's vice president of the Total Professional Association, and he has over 40 years of experience working for Total. You're welcome in our studio.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Abazov, and I am certainly very honored, extremely honored to be here this afternoon with you and to be able to exchange and to share views for the benefit of our students.
We talk a lot about globalization and impact of globalization on the decisions of young people in their professional choices of jobs and professional choices of future career. What can we learn from your experience, from your professional line and life, and from your professional expertise?
Well, this is a good and difficult question. Maybe I would like to get some support from the thinker, Mr. Maxwell, and I will quote he say, indicating that a leader is one who knows the way, one who goes the way, but more importantly, one who shows the way.
What would be your recipe for young people to be successful in their professional life?
Well, this is your second very challenging and difficult question, Professor Abazov. Well, number one of my recipe would certainly be talking about inspiring others. All the leaders certainly currently are inspiring others. Then demonstrating empathy. You cannot be a good leader if you don't show empathy. And maybe a third one would be influencing people to make sure that they follow you.
Can you give some examples from your professional life and give some additional information?
Yes, I certainly would like, in fact, to express the view of my company Total, with whom I've been for well over 40, 42, 45 years, and which is that Total is a French company by origin, created back in 1924, and who is now currently involved in over 130 countries worldwide. The leadership of the company has changed over the years, this is absolutely certain, and the qualities and the recipes that are to be used nowadays are quite different from the ones at the beginning of the company. The big challenge that we are facing now is what we call acceptability by the different countries where we operate. And acceptability means that our leadership, the type of leadership, needs to fully take into account the different elements of the countries where we operate, including cultures, including regulations, including ways of doing business. And as a result, we have embarked upon a major policy of having a diverse workforce. At this moment in time, out of 100,000 employees that we have, less than a third are French, which means that 2/3 of our employees are people coming from our 130 countries. And our commitment is to make them grow and become future leaders, not only in their own countries, but also outside their countries. And this is certainly diversity, our key element and our key recipe for our success.
We as professors, as lecturers, as managers at the universities, we always talk about skills and competences for our students. And what would you say will be a choice? What kind of skills do you expect students to have? What kind of competences do you expect students to have in order to choose them to work for your corporation?
Well, the first one is, of course, we look for academic excellence. So we will at all times recruit from the best universities in the world. And of course, Al-Farabi is one of them. Having said that, we do not look only at this excellence in terms of academic performance, but we look also at the behavior that these people will demonstrate. And these behaviors, when you grow inside the company, become even more important than the academic skills. The first one that I may quote is respect. Respect is the key of relationship between human beings. And in Total, we do not accept that anybody would not respect somebody else. Once we have accepted this concept of respect, we think that listening is a key part of these criteria that we are looking for. If you do not listen to your customer, if you do not listen to what he wants, how can you deliver the product that he wants? So listening, the capacity to listen, which seems to be an obvious thing, but when you look at the way people interact with each other, you will notice that nobody is listening to the other and want just to impose their point of view.
You talked a lot about leadership, but now let us move to the second part of your presentations, career management. So right now we're talking that every person, every graduate, to be competitive at the international market, she or he should be career manager for himself or herself. What does it mean to be good career management?
Well, being a good career manager is, first of all, as you indicate, to be able to manage one's own career. And despite the fact that we support our employees, wherever they come from, all over the world, one of the key messages is to say that every employee is the main driver of his own career. That is to say, you should not be complacent, you should not be, let's say, inactive, or you have to be proactive at all times to be able to seize opportunities, to be able to say, yes, I'm ready to move from one country to another, I'm ready to take a new challenge, I'm ready to change job. I am just ready at all times to move away from my comfort zone and to take new challenges.
Mm-hmm. I know that today you talked to our students, you had some case studies, you had some presentations. From your experience with Kazakh students, what do you think their strengths and what their weaknesses, what they should work on?
Well, I found first excellent students who have a capacity to understand concepts which suddenly are far away from their current day-to-day occupation, and who are capable of catching, the pros and cons and the advantages of some concepts which are totally new to them. I will not have noticed any weaknesses. I will have noticed areas for improvement, if I may say so.
Okay.
And areas of improvement, first of all, is certainly the English language, which in our current world, and for a Frenchman, I must say that I have to accept that French is no more the language spoken everywhere in the world. Now it's English. And even in France, in French universities, nowadays, we conduct master degrees, etc. in English. Mm-hmm. So please, key message to your students, improve your English, not only spoken English or written English, but also the capacity to make a presentation and to come and talk in front of an audience and to be comfortable at that exercise.
You know, what I did actually over a couple of days, I remember that you have MBA from top management school in France. I checked what they suggested on their website, and they said it's a couple of very important things. One is ability to present. It's again comes with your line. It would be very good and strong in presentations. Not in just in making it great fun or nice and beautiful, but also ability within 5 or 10 minutes what you have to go in depth to idea what you present. And second idea was actually that in modern world, in current labor environment, people need to develop analytical skills. And can you touch upon on these particular issues?
Well, on the first one, I would just want to elaborate a little further and indeed encourage students to work on this presentation skills. Let's face it, people will not read more than 2 pages or 3 pages of any report. If you are not capable to eye catch their attention and to be able in 5 or 10 minutes to just demonstrate and get the approval of the audience in 10-15 minutes maximum, then your work will be much harder in any corporation or even vis-à-vis the public. So the first point was very important. I want to stress its importance. On the second one,
Skills.
is one has to realize that the world is getting so complex that we have to integrate, to swallow so much different, sometimes contradictory information, that if you don't have a proper analytical skill which will allow you to filter important information from less important information, the one which are relevant to your question or those which are irrelevant, then indeed you will struggle much more.
And also I noticed that recently, I know that you in your career you were a manager, and then you were HR manager, human resource manager, and you highlight a couple of points. But recently a lot of HR managers talk about one important skill what the students actually have to develop, what become an umbrella of cyber skills, ability to work and survive in cyberspace, including critical thinking about what we call fake news and critical thinking about many issues around, and plus ability to work with all kind of apps and softwares what we have on our computers, our gadgets, our smartphones. So can you elaborate a little bit about it?
Well, I would say that first of all, the young generation, the Y generation, has a lot of advantages compared with our generation, because of course they have seen so many changes since they were little babies or whatever, that I think they were now it's part of their way of doing business, of traveling, or of just even exchanging views with their friends. So of course they are native, if I may say so, 2.0 or whatever, and they should work indeed further, not only because it's fun, or not only because it's nice, to use this cyber objects or whatever, but it's going to be just like English is a tool and needs to be perfectly controlled and mastered. But of course the ISIT technology and the like must be just part of their day-to-day life. They don't even have to think about it. It's just a tool, but they need to have a good command of the tool, just like English.
And finally, actually coming back to your experience and expertise and maybe some ideas from your life. I know that you live in many countries, you work in many countries. What kind of ideas, what kind of suggestions would you like, or what would you like to teach to young people to be able to be global person, to be global citizen, and be able to work in the global market? If you go to like 3 bullet points and then elaborate a little bit.
Yes, well, it's kind of interesting. I I would like first to summarize by a famous quote that I'm sure everybody knows, which is, when you are in Rome, do as the Romans do. So the first thing is really to understand the culture of the country where you embark upon an operation or stay, which is be longer or shorter, but still accept the cultural difference, listen, learn, and avoid to hurt by mistake, without, of course, any intention, but just by mistake doing things which will be deemed inappropriate in the country where you operate. Having said that, I have lived in many, many countries, including UK, USA, Egypt, Syria, United Arab Emirates, and strangely enough, of course, once you have accepted the different culture or whatever, I have always been myself. That is to say, I have not tried to play a role. I have not tried to become an American in the US, or a Brit in Britain, or a Syrian in Syria. I was myself, French native, and I think people appreciated that I was just genuinely interested in what they were, who they were, but also respectful of my own culture and of my own, let's say, human nature.
You know, you're at Al-Farabi, Kazakhstan University, which tried to reinvent itself to become truly global university, truly research university. So what was the most striking point in your experience here at Al-Farabi University? What was most surprising or most unexpected?
Yeah. Oh, well, the first thing which strikes me, but which was not unexpected, I'm afraid, is a high level of professionalism, and which I expected, and I found it. So I saw an excellent level amongst the professors, with the intention of being global, and to remain also, and to build on the strength of the university. I'm impressed by the quality of the students, and I'm impressed also by the facilities. I mean, this campus is somebody just by the mountains. It's just fantastic, and I hope that students realize how lucky they are to work in such a positive environment, beautiful environment, and with such a high level surrounding, guiding them through their studies and in the future of their career.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, and we hope you will come many times again in future. We hope to see you, and our students really eager to learn from you, and we wish that our meeting and our interview will not last, and we will continue our collaboration and our cooperation.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Abbasov. I'm ready and willing. That's already my second visit. I was here last May, and I spent a fantastic week in Almaty. I have to admit, I love your city also. So I love the country, but I think that Almaty is just wow. That's my conclusion. Wow.
And hopefully you will keep this particular feeling about Almaty in future.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.